Hi, everyone. Welcome to Andrea Speaks Out. My name is Andrea, and today I'm just going to consider this sort of a mini episode. Since tomorrow is Christmas, I know that everybody's really busy, so I thought that rather than having a guest this week, I would just share a thought or two about the holidays. So I've found that there are a lot of people, and not just trauma survivors, who seem to have a difficult time around the holidays. It's interesting, isn't it? I'm guessing that there are multiple contributing factors to having the holiday blues, so to speak. I know I used to be one of them. I enjoy the holidays now, but there was a long time where I did not enjoy the holidays whatsoever. So some of this is speaking from experience, and other is just from things I've observed from other people. And so I think there's a few contributing factors. I think one thing that contributes to people having a difficult time with the holidays has to do with comparison. I think that sometimes some folks can get caught up in comparing their holidays with their perceptions of other people's holidays. And I think it's very easy to happen in life in general, but especially around the holidays, we base what our expectation is of what our holidays should feel like and be like and look like based on movies and songs and TV shows, and particularly social media and the perfect Pinterest family, their holidays and how they display their love of the holidays. And I think sometimes people can compare themselves and saying, look at what they have, look what I don't have. But I think more so, sometimes it can be, look how much love they have, and I don't have that in my life. Or everyone looks so happy. Why don't I feel like that? I think that's one possible contributing factor to some holiday depression. I love the expression, comparison is the thief of joy. Theodore Roosevelt, I think, said that. And that is such a great statement if you think about it. Comparison is the thief of joy. It really is. Another thing I've seen people go through is grief. If you lose somebody who used to help make the holidays so special, and they're no longer with you, how difficult is that? You have to sort of redefine what Christmas means, or Hanukkah, or any holiday that you celebrate, or any traditions in general. You know, if your loved one was the one who put the star on the Christmas tree, and that loved one is no longer with us, so difficult. And I think if we are grieving, it's really hard to find joy in anything that we used to love. Another one I think of as a contributing factor is when there's an anniversary close to a holiday. I think if something terrible happened around the holidays, or if it's the anniversary of a death, again, grieving, but it's just a terrible reminder during a holiday period, I think that makes it really tough. And another factor is this feeling of betrayal. I'm thinking of a lot of survivors of abuse done by clergy members from various churches, and where their faith has been betrayed and their trust has been betrayed. And so their whole question of the meaning behind Christmas is a really challenging one. And my last episode with Sean Doherty, we talked about this. He talked about how abuse by the church, by members of the church, has really impacted his faith. It was very thought-provoking for me. I think all of these things can affect people in different ways, and you just find yourself in the holidays and what's wrong with me? Why can't I enjoy it like other people? And you're dreading it, and you just want January to come. I've seen that on different people's Facebook posts and social media musings, so to speak. And I remember being in that place where I just got more anxiety when Christmas was approaching, for a lot of different reasons for myself. There were a lot of reasons where I didn't find a lot of joy. And I'm still not the best Christmassy person, and I kind of make light of it now. But I don't have this strong foundation in creating this beautiful, peaceful spirit. But I love it now. I truly do. But it took me a long time to get here, where I don't have any angst or negative feelings. I just feel joy and peace and excitement, and I feel like a little kid a lot, at why we can have difficulty during the holidays. And I think A lot of these contributing factors that I mentioned, and a lot of others as well, that was just a small slice of them, I think. There are a few things that most of those factors have in common. And I wanted to share these, just my thoughts on this. First of all, if you are caught up in either the grief or betrayal or sadness of an anniversary, all of those require that you do not embrace the present moment. Your energy is not in the present whatsoever. You are focused backwards. Your energy is going behind you. You are not in the present at all. Your emotions, your energy, your thoughts are all focused elsewhere. It's very difficult to experience joy if you're not present for it, especially if you have negative emotions associated with the direction your energy is pointed in. And so I think that's one thing that a lot of those factors that are making us unhappy around the holidays share. Another thing that these factors share is that they lack pure gratitude. And it's very hard to be grateful for a thing when you are in crisis mode or PTSD mode. You're busy trying to heal from something that was just brutal, or you're in complete grief over the loss of somebody or something. It's hard to find anything to be thankful for. I have been there, and I've wanted to be thankful, and I would come up with nothing. And I think gratitude is a choice that we have to sometimes make over and over and remember to make it. And when I got to a place where I was ready to try and sit in a place of gratitude, do you know where I would go? The only thing I could come up with, I swear, was I am grateful that my abuse is over. That was all I came up with. That was it. That I am no longer being hurt by anybody. I am so glad it's over. And I talk about it all the time. I still had to deal with a lot of my leftovers, but the abuse itself was done. And I could sit in that gratitude for a long time. It's really interesting. But that's how bare bones my gratitude was when I first set out on my healing journey. It's over. Thank goodness. And another thing I would find gratitude for was that I now have my power back, that I have choices, and I can choose the life I want to live. And I have a massive amount of obstacles in front of me, but I have power. And honestly, that's where my gratitude started. And when we're caught up in all these negative emotions, it's really difficult to get to a place of gratitude. Another thing that these contributing factors don't leave you room for is incorporating positive interventions. And this is what I mean by that. I feel like we all follow sort of a recipe when we're celebrating holidays. When I was in a really negative place about the holidays, my recipe included waking up, realizing it was Christmas, getting upset, crying, stressing over who I was going to see, wishing things were different, remembering negative holidays from the past, etc. And I would just play that on repeat year after year for a while. I kind of chalked it up. Like I knew ahead of time that that was going to be a really rough time of year for me. I knew it. That was my recipe. And those were the ingredients. And I finally got to a place where I realized that I was still kind of in victim mode when I had that mentality. Do you know what I mean? I was still playing the victim of the depression that would set upon me because of all the hardship I went through. And I didn't come from a place of power from within at all. And I finally, once I realized that, decided to kind of add some new ingredients to my recipe. I know this is sounding kind of silly as I'm saying it out loud, but this is how it felt. And I didn't want to, for a long time, I did not want to change my recipe. I didn't want to take anything away from it. I kind of clung to that recipe. I held on to my little victim story, almost a little proudly, which is kind of weird to say, but I did. This is what I went through. This is how bad it was. And so, of course, I'm going to suffer. You know, I felt that way. I don't know if I realized it that consciously, but I did. So I decided I was going to add some additional ingredients to not change completely anything, because I didn't think I could change, but I was a little bit farther on in my journey. But I'm going to share the example. I just thought of this recently. I'm going to share the story of when I was first getting divorced. And it was going to be the first Christmas Eve that I did not have my son with me. And he was really little at the time. And it broke my heart. Anyone who you know who's going through that, having a child helped transform my joy for Christmas for sure. And I knew I wasn't going to have him that first Christmas Eve. And I knew it was going to be brutal. I think we would know that that would be tough for anybody, right? So what I did was I consciously chose to add things to my night and the following morning, Christmas morning, that would help me through it a little. And I knew nothing would take away this sorrow. No one's going to say something and, oh, okay, this is a great Christmas Eve. No, you know it's going to be a struggle. But if you know it's going to be a struggle, then you also have power to add some things to reduce the struggle at least a little bit. So what I did was, first of all, I was able to work it out. And I know not everyone can do this, but I was able to go to my ex-husband's house during part of that Christmas Eve so that I could still see my son and he could see me, because it wouldn't be fair for him to not see both of us on Christmas Eve. And I got to watch him put the cookies out for Santa and make a little note for Santa and watch him go to bed. And it was so wonderful that nobody had to miss out on that. And I know not everyone can work that out, but I was very, very glad and fortunate that my ex-husband and I were on the same page for my son. But then I had to leave, and I knew going home to an empty house was going to... But then I had to leave, and I knew going home to an empty house was going to be way too painful, so I scheduled to go spend most of that night with my friend. And it was so helpful. I still had sadness, but there were moments of joy and laughter, and maybe a glass or two of wine mixed in. But honestly, it wasn't all horrible. Some of it was horrible, but not 100%. And boy, I was so grateful for that. And so I just want to share that with all of you, that if you know you are up for a horrible time, whether tomorrow or any other time really in the year, if you know that this is a really tough time, that you have power to kind of add some new ingredients to help ease the pain a little. So I am not trying to talk you out of your feelings. I'm not trying to minimize anything. I know firsthand how difficult certain things can be around this. I want you to try and add your own additional ingredients to your recipe. That might make a positive difference. So I came up with 4 little suggestions that I'm just going to share. I have no idea how these are going to sound, but these are things that I have used in the past that really made a difference, that helped me suffer less. And if that can help anybody out there in your journey, then it's worth me saying them out loud. So this is for any of you who you know you're going to have a tough time tomorrow, okay? Or at another holiday or point in time. The first thing I want to suggest as an ingredient to your recipe is I want you to write a list of at least 3 things that you're grateful for, that you're truly grateful for. And I want you to read them when you're feeling at your lowest on Christmas or Christmas night or your birthday or Halloween or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. Whatever brings you some turmoil or depression, I want you to pull out that list and do it 3 different times too, okay? And I don't want you to just read what you're grateful for. I'm grateful for a roof over my head. I'm grateful for this. I want you to close your eyes when you say the first one and let that gratitude for that item or that feeling or whatever you list, let it fill your heart so much that your heart feels like it's going to explode with light. Like really do that and mean it just for that moment. Just mean it, that you have so much gratitude, that you never want to lose that thing. Okay, so I want you to write a list of 3 things before times get too tough, and then pull out that list a few times during the day when you need it. All right, the next ingredient I want you to try and add to your recipe is I want you to think of 3 things that can bring you comfort or joy. 3 things that you can do on the day. If going to a Bruce Springsteen concert brings you joy, it's probably not likely that you're going to be able to fit it in that day. So that's not something that should go on your list. Okay, I can think of so many things, but I mean, if you're alone all day, then you need to choose 3 things, whether it's your favorite book, lighting a fire in the fireplace, being with your dog, going for a walk, being in nature. Nature is so helpful. 3 active things you can do on that day. So if you're alone, it might be easier than if you're with a bunch of friends and relatives, some of whom you have no interest in seeing. That happens quite a bit, I've been told. And you need to find 3 things. And again, you need to do these before the day is upon you so that, again, you can take control back. And this is something you can, so that, again, you can take control back. And this is something you can control, knowing ahead of time that it might be a tough day. 3 things that bring you comfort or joy or peace that you can do during the day. Okay? So here's the 3rd offering of an ingredient. Throughout the day, I want you to find 5 moments when you can go to a separate room, even if it's only a bathroom. I want you to find 5 moments throughout the day. And I want you to close your eyes and do some deep breathing exercises. Deep breathing is so helpful because it helps ground you in the present moment. And when you're truly present, a lot of other things can go away. Unwelcomed things can go away. It can fend off anxiety attacks. It can help reset your body and your mind. You can do these even really in the presence of others and they won't even know. I do this stuff all the time. But ideally, I want you to go into another room. And there's a lot of breathing exercises you can find right on YouTube. But I'm going to just share a simple one I do all the time. I share this with a lot of other people, and it helps. I want you to inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold it for 4 seconds. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. And then the next time you do it, the little cycle, inhale 4, hold 4, exhale for 6, and hold for 4. Repeat it at least 3 times. Okay? Don't worry if any thoughts or feelings come up. I don't want you to think about this as meditation or anything. You're just breathing. And it's very natural for your brain. That's what your brain is supposed to do, is think. And it's very natural for a lot of thoughts and feelings to come up. And I have this little mantra that I have in my mind when I'm breathing and doing these things. I breathe, I notice, and then I start again. So I start doing my breathing, and then I notice if different thoughts start to interfere, and I just, without any judgment, I'm thinking about something, and then I just start over, and I just start breathing and counting. And I promise it gets a lot easier the more you practice this. It really helps, and it will ground you instantly. And it's a very useful tool, especially when you're struggling a lot. So I want you to try that. And the last piece I want to offer in our little recipe for the holidays is this. If a really intolerable emotion or thought arises, I want you to ask yourself this question. Is this feeling about something that's happening right now, or is it something from the past? Because many times when we have this anxiety or these feelings, a lot of times it has to do with something from the past. So if something just intolerable, this awful emotion or feeling comes up or thought comes up, or think about that thing later, but right now you're going to just breathe and focus on this moment. So it's like reassuring a part of your consciousness that you're not going to neglect it. I'm going to come right back to that feeling. Don't worry. But right now I'm going to do a little breathing thing. I'll be right back. Just pause that feeling for a moment. So really try that and then follow through. Do the little breathing exercise. And it's going to most likely, especially with practice, but most likely when you revisit that thought or feeling, it's a little bit easier to manage. It really is. Can you tell I've done this many times? Oh my goodness. It really helps me get through some difficulty. Now, if the tough emotion is about something happening right now, I want you to take a step away and use your little breathing trick. And it's important that you tell yourself in your mind, pause right now, just for a minute. I'll be right back, but I need to go breathe first, and then I'm going to come back to you. And then I'm going to come back to you. And then just breathe. Just breathe. And it will help you cope with that feeling. There is so much power in our breath. It's very interesting. And I hope some of you try this. It really can make a difference in your day. So those are my thoughts on the holidays. And I wish everybody could just have a wonderful day tomorrow. And I just know it's not possible. I just know it's not, because we are all just on a different point in our journeys. And we got to figure it all out. And I just think if we can all help each other through the different junctures, the world's going to be a better place. And I just wanted to share some of the little tools and the tricks that have helped me because I'm just at such a less stressful point in my life. And I want that for every one of you. So I hope you enjoy your holidays in the best way that you can. I really do. And I'm going to take a little break next week because we're all traveling. Really do. And I'm going to take a little break next week because we're all traveling or enjoying families or avoiding families or whatever, just coping. And I'm going to be enjoying family and friends. And it's my birthday next week as well, which snuck up on me. But I always try to celebrate my birthday because we have a finite number of them, you know? We have a finite number of birthdays. And I get another year to try and get it right and evolve and learn and grow and help people. How lucky is that? So, birthday, New Year's Eve, what a time for reflection and for goal setting. So, I will be back here with another episode of Andrea Speaks Out in January next year, 2019. This might be a good time to just say a big, fat thank you to all of you. This is episode number 6. And I think I said in the first episode that probably only my husband and my friend would listen to this. And I have been so overwhelmed. Well, I'm going to get emotional now. Sorry. So overwhelmed by the love and support and encouragement I've received from so many of you. And people are sharing these episodes with their therapists. I love that. And different episodes are striking people in different ways. That brings me so much hope. And I've gotten some good, positive, constructive suggestions on what to do to change or improve. And I'm so grateful. I haven't had a single troll yet. Yay. I'm a little shocked. I was ready for it. But no, it's just been love and you know, suggestions through love and kindness and sharing. And I can't thank you guys enough. I just want to help people so much and help ease the way and prevent this abuse and lift us all up. So I say thank you every single day. And so I want to thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful, happy, healthy rest of the year. If you want to reach out to me with any suggestions or reactions from this episode or any other, I would love to hear from you. You can reach me at andreaspeaksout.com and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Happy holidays, everyone. Stay safe. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to each other. Respect everyone's journey. And I'll see you next year. Take care.